Hello, I would like to thank y'all for attending this presentation on drug and alcohol abuse in the workforce. My name is William Major. I'll be your presenter for this evening. I just want to brief you up and make you aware of a few uh, terms, or what to look for with those terms, what signs or what symptoms that you may come across. As supervisors of covered employees over DOT testing, it is your job and essentially very important for you to be aware of these, because not only could this prevent accidents or death, but it could also save the company a lot of money. Alcohol will be the first term that we're going to talk about. Alcohol can be consumed and purchased legally by persons 21 years of age and older. However, it is prohibited from being used and consumed while at work on the job. Uh, People that's constantly abusing alcohol, they can have frequent accidents at work, altercations with other employees, and not showing up at work. Some symptoms of that could be just lack of energy, slurred speech, glossy eyes, and insufficient performance. Uh, Alcohol is commonly used socially. However, we want to make sure that people do it in moderation and don't abuse it. Okay. The next drug we will talk about would be marijuana or weed. It's a recreational drug. It's um, it's definitely illegal. The possession and the use is illegal in most states, and some convictions can cause the company to possibly lose federal money. Okay, signs of marijuana use, it just could be someone not being motivated, the redness of eyes, and you can't always go on that. Sometimes marijuana use or abuse, it can go unnoticed if somebody's not aware of it. But if you kind of see those signs, some symptoms also could be a very, very distinct odor, slow speech, being fatigued, or having impaired memory. Okay. If there's any machines around at your workplace, not being able to operate them efficiently and effectively could definitely be a possible symptom or sign of marijuana use. Okay. The next drug that we will talk about is cocaine, and that could be crack cocaine in the rock form, or it could be regular pure cocaine in the powder form. Physically, you don't get too dependent on that, but psychologically, this is the uh, most dependable drug of all the drugs that we will go over today. Signs of cocaine or crack cocaine use: frequent absences. Stuff could be going home. The abuse of it, they could be losing so much money at home, spending, that you start people items and stuff start coming up missing at work. Uh, Also, just irrational conflicts with other employees or supervisors, just because when you start suspecting somebody may be using crack cocaine or cocaine, some symptoms may be running noses, um, rapid and significant weight loss. They're always irritated or hyper. You find them just talking, having a lot of excessive talking. You might see them constantly sweating, wiping their head, or their hands always sweaty, and it may be cold outside. Uh, if they're doing a certain job, you might just notice a lack of the job at hand. Possession and use of crack cocaine and cocaine is definitely illegal. And I want to repeat, as I mentioned earlier, this is the strongest mental dependency of all the drugs that we talked about. So you definitely want to be mindful and aware of this drug. The next one would be amphetamines. And amphetamine would be something like speed, or some people also have what they have methamphetamines, crystal meth is what the street name could possibly be. Uh, you mostly find this around people that work at night, or over the road truck drivers. So if you're on a location and you use truck drivers, if they bring vacuum truck drivers, or if they're bringing pipes or whatever it may be that you're dealing with, you have to be aware of them because those guys, they want to push those long hours. They want to get those extra hours. Night drivers or night shift workers, they don't always get a lot of the adequate amount of sleep during the day. So what they'll do, they'll take one of these to kind of keep them going. Same thing with truck drivers. They're trying to beat times. Everything is time. They're trying to get the product there. So they will use those. You'll notice some signs, be a little bit more frequent accidents with these employees, excessive talking, and their mind state is that they can always think that they can do something or complete a task when they really can't. Some symptoms could be, again, just like with crack cocaine, accident prone, excessive talking, and definitely just sweaty all the time. The next term I want to talk about is hallucinogens. This is definitely not common in the workplace that much, but it's something just to be aware of. You have what you call PCP or angel dust would be another name for it. Also, a new hallucinogen that's kind of come out. It's not talked about mostly, but it's synthetic marijuana, and it has caused people to hallucinate and to do things definitely out of character. Signs for hallucinogens include unprovoked outbursts, unnecessary risk, trying to cut corners of finish tasks when they've been trained to do the other way. Some symptoms of hallucinogens: their pupils might be dilated, they may have trouble speaking, and their productivity. I mean, the productivity has just decreased tremendously. These drugs, though they may not be addictive, they can they can have a lot of emotional effects on someone. So it's definitely something to be aware of as well. The last term I want to speak with you about is opiates. And opiates, you have some legal opiates and you also have some illegal opiates. However, both of these opiates, when people use them legally or illegally, they are abused. Okay. The legal opiates are like Vicodin, some painkillers, codeine, and a lot of times, uh, guys they'll mix codeine with their liquor, and they'll call it lean, well, with syrup and stuff like that. The illegal opiates would be heroin. Heroin is can come in the form of a rock or can be injected into you. The majority of the opiates that are legally are pills. Signs for opiate use or abuse: absent from work, several accidents, accident prone. The symptoms also come with lack of coordination, depression, slurred speech, and just job abandonment outright. As a supervisor, you want to be well aware of all your employees' behaviors, change behaviors, unusual behaviors, whatever it may be. That's the mark of, knowing your employees up under you. As you begin to observe the behavior of an employee, if it's different, well, question that behavior. Okay. Once you question that behavior and you notice, some signs or some symptoms that kind of fit the descriptions of the terms we just went over, then you go and pull the employee to the side and just talk to them. Let them know your concerns. Express what you noticed to them, and give them the opportunity to to speak freely. Okay, and you go from there. I want to thank you for taking the time out today to listen to this brief presentation, and wish you the best, and go from there.